Have you ever stopped to think about what holds a society together? Well, today we're diving into one of the most powerful inventions ever created for that exact purpose, the written legal code. We're about to take a 4,000-year journey all the way from ancient stone tablets to the incredibly complex digital rules that run our world today.
So let's start with a puzzle. You've got an ancient Babylonian king on one side and a modern company going bankrupt on the other. What in the world could they possibly have in common? Well, the answer is this incredible thread that runs through almost all of human history. And trust me, it's way more powerful than you might think.
It really all comes down to the code. This idea is so fundamental, it has shaped civilizations, it's built empires, and right now it's the foundation of our entire global economy. You can almost think of it as the invisible software that society runs on. And its story begins right at the cradle of civilization, in ancient Mesopotamia.
Okay, let's travel way back in time. We're going to Babylon, around 1750 BC. Here, right in the heart of this booming empire, a revolutionary idea was about to be literally carved into stone, an idea that would absolutely change the course of history.
This is the stele of Hammurabi. Just try to imagine standing in front of this thing. It's a 7.5-foot tall monument of solid black stone, and it's covered in this intricate script laying out 282 laws. Now, this was so much more than a list of rules. It was King Hammurabi's big, bold statement to create one single, unified legal system for his whole empire. He was making justice something you could see and touch, a permanent, physical
And here it is, law number 196. This is the one everybody knows, the famous an eye for an eye. It's maybe the most misunderstood part of the code. It introduced this principle of lex talionis, or retributive justice. The idea behind it was simple, but really powerful. The punishment should fit the crime. But as we're about to see, what was considered a fitting punishment really depended on who you were.
So was this system of justice actually equal for everyone? The short answer? Not even close. You see, while Hammurabi's code was this huge leap forward, it was a long way from our idea of equal justice. In fact, it was specifically designed to do the opposite, to lock in the social hierarchy that already existed.
Let's break down how this worked. If an amelu, that's one of the elites, blinded another elite, the punishment was literally an eye for an eye. But if that same elite blinded a mushkenu, a commoner, the punishment was just a fine. And if they blinded an ardu, a slave, the penalty was even smaller. So the law was clear, sure, but the price of justice was completely determined by your social class.
All right, let's jump forward in time. Way forward, like 3,500 years forward. We're now in post-revolutionary France, a nation in chaos, trying to figure out what it is. And once again, the legal code is going to play a central role. But this time, it's not just about keeping order. It's about building a brand new nation.
Can you imagine living in a country where the laws literally changed every time you crossed a river? That was the reality in France before Napoleon. It was a total mess, just this chaotic patchwork of old feudal customs and random local rules. Napoleon's big idea was to just sweep all of that confusion away and create one single, logical, legal system for every single citizen of France.
And the contrast with Hammurabi's code is just striking. We've gone from a single, giant, unmovable stone monument to a mass-produced portable book. And this wasn't just a change in technology. It was a total shift in philosophy. Law was no longer this thing you just looked at from a distance. It was something to be read, to be understood, and to be used by everyone. Its influence was so massive that it spread across continents, shaping legal systems from Europe all the way to Latin America.
You know, the Napoleonic Code really laid the foundation for how we think about law today. It established these principles that seem so obvious to us now, but they were totally radical at the time. Things like laws have to be public, no more secret rules. It banned ex post facto laws, which basically means you can't be punished for doing something that wasn't a crime when you did it. And maybe the biggest deal of all, it created a secular legal system, separating the laws of the state from the rules of the church. This was an absolute game changer.
Okay, for our final stop, we're landing in the modern United States. Here, the legal code has morphed yet again, this time into a set of highly specialized tools. These aren't tools for building empires or forging nations anymore, but for navigating the super complicated, high-stakes world of modern business.
Just think about how chaotic it would be if every single state had its own set of rules for buying and selling things. A simple transaction would turn into a legal nightmare. Well, that's where the Uniform Commercial Code, the UCC, comes in. It's basically like a universal translator for business. It makes sure that a contract you sign in California means the exact same thing in New York. It's really the unsung hero that keeps the engine of the American economy running smoothly.
Of course, in a fast-moving economy, not every business is a success story. And for the ones that aren't, modern law actually has a plan. It's called the Bankruptcy Code, and it's a surprisingly sophisticated system for managing failure.
So, a key thing to understand here is that bankruptcy doesn't always mean game over. Under Chapter 7, yeah, it pretty much does. Think of it as pulling the plug. The company gets shut down and its assets are sold off. But Chapter 11 is a whole different ballgame. It's more like a strategic pause, a legal reboot for a business. It gives the company a chance to restructure, renegotiate its debts, and hopefully come back even stronger.
And Chapter 11 isn't just some last-ditch effort, it's an incredibly powerful strategic tool. Just look at the airline industry back in the early 2000s. They were facing enormous financial pressure, so many of the major airlines actually used Chapter 11 as a way to hit the reset button. It let them get rid of overwhelming debt, renegotiate really expensive contracts, and ultimately survive in a ridiculously tough market.
The sheer scale of modern bankruptcy is just astounding. When Lehman Brothers collapsed back in 2008, it wasn't just another company going out of business. It sent a shockwave through the entire global financial system. And the tool they used to manage this colossal crisis? Chapter 11. It's a pretty powerful testament to how these legal codes have become a fundamental part of our global economic infrastructure.
So from being a symbol of a king's absolute power to being a tool for corporate survival, the legal code has gone through this incredible transformation over 4,000 years. It's really mirrored our own evolution as a society, becoming more complex, more specialized, and way more essential to our daily lives.
This timeline really sums up our entire journey perfectly. Hammurabi's code was all about order, imposing a strict top-down hierarchy. Then, the Napoleonic Code was about creating a system, a rational, accessible framework for a whole nation. And today, commercial codes are highly specialized tools designed to solve the very specific, very complex problems of a global economy.
From stone to print, and now to the cloud, the legal code has always adapted to our changing world. So now, as we're standing on the edge of a new era, with things like artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and decentralized finance right on the horizon, the question is, what's next? What new codes are we going to have to write to navigate the incredible complexities of the future?